Welcome to episode 22 of the Cals Report, your all-access pass to the people, ideas, and conversations shaping the future of college athletics. I'm Will Reese, Cal's director, and today's big interview features Eddie Nunez, director of athletics at the University of Houston. As Houston continues to establish itself in the Big 12, Eddie is thinking every day about growth, alignment, resources, leadership, and what it takes to build an athletic department that can compete at the highest level. In this conversation, our Ryan Bradley visits with Eddie about his career path, what attracted him to the Houston opportunity, the changing role of the athletic director, and how today's AD has to operate not only as a leader of coaches and student athletes, but also as a business executive. It's a great conversation with one of the leaders helping shape the next chapter of Houston athletics. Now, here's Ryan Bradley with the University of Houston Director of Athletics, Eddie Nunez, on the Cals Report, where the conversation continues long after the event ends. Hey, Will here. Wanted to jump off before we got going with the big interview and give a couple updates from our Cals community. Recently, we finished our 5th annual Cals One Day in early June. We were in Atlanta at Georgia Tech, had over 22 athletic departments bring colleagues in for a total of 300 attendees, faculty members, and of course our awesome sponsor group. Big thanks to Ryan Alpert and his team at Georgia Tech. They did an awesome job and made it a great day for everybody who came in to Midtown there in Atlanta to join us. Just an awesome day of connecting and talking about where the industry is, where it's heading, careers, and all the stuff that we do at our Cals events. And with that, the next thing on our calendar is our 16th annual Collegiate Athletic Leadership Symposium. So Cals 26 is heading to Fort Worth, September 27th to 29th, which is a week earlier than we were last year or have generally been on the calendar. Just in the last week or so, invitations have gone out. We've opened up registration. So if you've gotten an invitation, I would strongly urge you to go ahead and get registered as soon as possible, as this spots are filling up faster than ever. If you have any questions about Cals or would like to understand how to get an invitation, you can always reach out to us through our website, adsymposium.us. We can't wait. It's only a couple months away. Can't wait to be with Mike Buddy and his team at TCU in Fort Worth. So with that, let's head on to Ryan and Eddie.
It's time now for the big interview here on the Cals Report podcast. I'm Ryan Bradley, and I'm very pleased to be joined this month by the Director of Athletics at the University of Houston, Eddie Nunez. Eddie, thanks for being with us. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Appreciate you having us here, and hopefully we can keep this entertaining and enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, excited to dive in. I want to start by talking about your career journey. You've had a very unique path from student athlete to administrator, from LSU to New Mexico and now Houston. Looking back on that path, what experiences most prepared you for the chair you're sitting in today?
Yeah, I think when you think about all those different steps that we all take in our career, trying to figure out what's the right one, one of the things that I've learned the most in this is appreciating every step and learning that every place you go is different. I had the fortunate opportunity to start my career coaching and then transition into administration. And in doing so, for me, it was about surrounding myself with people that were going to help me become better. And so I've always been somebody that's been strategic in the way I think about that next opportunity if it's going to happen. You know, I went to LSU thinking, I don't know how long this is going to be after a couple of years at Vanderbilt. And 14 years later, you look back, you're like, wow, 7 different positions. You moved all the way up to the deputy AD, the number 2 role. So I was fortunate. But more importantly, I learned so much, and I was grateful for being there. And then fast forward to New Mexico, what a great experience to be able to go lead, understand, take a department that had a lot of hurdles and challenges, surround myself with some great people, great coaches, and take the next step here. And when I look back, one of the things I've realized more and more as my career has gone on is I'm a person that leans on a place that sometimes people may think it may be a risk. And more importantly for me, I do that because I think I need that. I love the challenge. I love the opportunity to build something, to grow something. And every place that I've been fortunate to be around, I've been able to do so. And so this was a great opportunity to come here. So a little bit of everything, but more importantly, just the learning experience that I've had to get around and learn from people, great people.
when that Houston opportunity came along and you started doing your research and thinking about this as a potential next step, what was it that excited you the most about the job?
Yeah, you had an athletic department that had success, and now venturing into the Big 12, knowing what our president and our administration and our board had done here at Houston, and looking into the job, they're elevating the university into a top 50 tier institution. I mean, everything they were doing is exactly what I wanted. I wanted an institution that academics was strong, that had the ability not just to be a competitor in a Power Four, but actually win championships. And to be around an unbelievable coach like Kelvin Sampson, to be around a community, being the fourth largest city in the United States, that's one thing, but add another layer to it, the amount of Fortune 500 companies. And there was the low hanging fruit, as people like to say, was in abundance here. There was so many things that we can take advantage of that I felt if I come in there with the right standard of, that I bring to the table, making sure that we do it the right way and we surround ourselves with some great people, that this can happen and we can do it in a high level here. So, and it's happened, with coming here and this is before I even got here, our basketball program already had success what Coach Sampson had already built here, and being able to continue to support them in every way we can. Our football team, Willie Fritz comes in here, same year as me, and first year was a tough one. He inherited a program similar like this department. It just needed a lot of work. And last year, going 10 wins, finish up with the Texas Bowl victory. And those are the things that I look at and say, I know that it's possible. We've set records already in fundraising and so many other factors. And when I look back, when I was thinking about this opportunity, everything I thought about then, sitting across from our chair at the time, which was Tillman Fertitta, and our president, Renu Couture, knowing that at that point, what they were envisioning was the same vision I had about where I wanted my career to go and how I can help elevate this department. So it was a no-brainer for me. It really was. I knew it had challenges. I knew we had to do a lot of heavy lifting, but with a little bit of hard work, great things happen here.
So you've taken advantage of some of the low-hanging fruit and had some early success. What steps does Houston need to take over the next few years to further establish itself as one of the premier athletic departments in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think we're taking the strides right now. I think more importantly than anything else, it's we need to continue to have that consistency across the board with all our sports. We've had some coaching changes over the last 2 years that are all for the better. Everyone, I felt like we've elevated our program in a better way, but it's also making sure we do our part in getting into the community. What I mentioned a few minutes ago about the Fortune 500, there are so many businesses in this community that we in the past haven't had maybe a great relationship or haven't done a good enough job to establish partnerships with them. And so more than importantly than anything else, for us to be great, this is truly the village approach. We're going to need the community to really support this. We're in a city in Houston that has a connection to, all the other Texas schools. I mean, you can name them all. A large part of their alumni base is in Houston. I mean, you look across the state next to us in Louisiana, their fan base is a really strong fan base here in Houston. So what are we doing to make sure that we differentiate ourselves? And I think for more than importantly anything else is making sure they understand that we are the University of Houston and we are here to support this community and build it and do it right. With that support, those resources, I know our teams have every other ability between NIL, between support, between fan base and everything else, that we can win and win at a high level here again, across every one of our, from softball to track to baseball, you name it, we can do it.
The role of an athletic director has certainly changed a lot over the last few years. How has your job changed compared to maybe when you first entered the profession or even when you first took on the AD role in New Mexico?
Yeah, I would tell you when I first got in, I was fortunate to be around some great leaders. I guess that old guard that you would say that really understood the importance of customer service but yet also the impact that you can help a coach. As one of, I learned from a legendary baseball coach and administrator, Skip Bertman, he used to always say, we have to help coaches at times. At times is important because you're not there to do it day to day. And so all those little things that I was able to learn from Dan Redikovich and him and so many others, fast forward to going to New Mexico, what I learned at New Mexico, more importantly than anything else, was there were a lot of things that we needed to address and correct. And if we were going to show ourselves to be the best that we can be and build the trust of our community, we had to be better stewards of our role and at the department. At the same time, we also had to take advantage of situations. So I learned very quickly there that, we're going to have to think differently. And it was great leaving LSU, Power 5, athletic department, going to a so-called mid-major at New Mexico. I had to change my thought process. I had to address the challenges, but I also had to give our coaches the support and the resources to be able to do it. Where we are today is truly a whole different. It's a CEO, and I think when people ask I have to be able to surround myself in this department with people that I have. My senior deputy was a former Division II AD at a couple stops, so having sat in a seat is important to me. Having individuals like that, I have Alvin Franklin and so many others in this department that have been instrumental in helping me navigate the things that happen on the day-to-day. Where I am now pivoting a lot more than probably many of my peers in this league, in the country, we're starting to have to get in front of major companies much more than probably ever before. And it's not just a one-offs, it is every day. And it has to be intentional. But I tell our staff, I have to go out there and I have to do this. We have to do it. So, because it's not just building the trust and showing them what we can do together as a business. But yes, everything we're doing is completely different than what we inherit when I first came into the business. So one of the things I try to do with our young administrators is tell them, learn every aspect, because it's not just about what you do. Learn from some older individuals that have more experience to even younger ones that maybe see things in a different perspective. I think that having that wide breadth of experience and examples are key for young administrators as well as ourselves.
When you compare the way you are allocating your time on a day-to-day basis now versus maybe 5 years ago, what percentage of your time would you estimate you're spending thinking like a business executive and meeting with business executives versus the traditional athletic administrator roles, and how that compares to the job 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, walking into a new role at New Mexico, I remember everybody talks about your first 90 days and what are you going to do? And I think it was, I honestly, it's a blur. Speaking at one of the first Cal events, after I was the AD, I remember going up there and put it all up on the board, and everybody was shocked and understanding, from attorney generals to this to that. And they looked at me like deer in headlights. These were young administrators. And I tried to explain to them, that's what I had to deal with in my first 90 days. Today, it's a lot different. And I inundate my days as much as I can, still prioritizing my family. Because as hard as our jobs are, I've got 2 beautiful young ladies. One of my daughters is 17, the other one's 15. So I want to find and make sure I prioritize and make time for them and my wife. But more importantly, I have to find a way to maximize my day. And so what I typically do is, from working out to doing all that stuff, that's great. But I am finding ways to meet with somebody, if it's for coffee, if it's for lunch, if it's dinner, maximizing my time where I can with leaders, because sitting down with CEOs or C-suite individuals is critical right now, especially when we're trying to sell jersey patches, court logos, this and that. That's all important, but I can't do that just as one-off. So I have to build these relationships. So how do I get with them as much as I can? So my days truly start off every probably 3 or 4 days a week with coffee with somebody, a community leader, a donor, or somebody, a partner that I can sit down and try to open up a new opportunity. Lunches, same thing. If I can do that, I offset them as much as I can. And then the rest of the time, what I'm trying to do is not just stuff here in the department. but trying to also make sure that I can go to practices. I think it's important for our coaches to see me and see us at their practices, at their events, and so you have to find a way to stretch yourself as much as you can, probably much more than ever.
We're living in the midst of a lot of uncertainty. Everybody's following the headlines on what seems like a daily basis as it relates to the evolving nature of governance. How are you navigating that uncertainty within your department and those conversations that you're having externally in terms of trying to keep people educated on where the industry is going and how the University of Houston and its athletic department are navigating these uncertain times?
Well, that's a loaded question and a half there, Ryan. No, honestly, I think from my standpoint, the easiest way to address it and look at it is, first of all, I guess, let me take a step back. It's hard to be able to communicate and educate our fan base, our donors, our university, our board, all those different constituents about what is transpiring when it's literally changing by the second, by the minute. What I can do to them is try to make sure that I keep them up to date on what we are doing and how we are approaching things. So for us, I'm very intentional about making sure that we over communicate when it comes to our team here, because everyone has to be a voice for this department. It just can't be me. I expect our coaches, I expect our staff to help message what's happening, what's transpiring, where we stand as a university and as an athletic department, but more importantly, as a conference and with all the changes that are happening. We try as much as we can to truly have sit downs and almost line everything up on how with individuals that are key stakeholders, that may be our board or some key donors. But at the same time, we also have legislators and politicians and everything else. So more for me, it's over communicating, allowing others to be the messengers as well as me. If it's just me having to set a meeting with everybody, it's not possible. So the more I can get others that I can trust, that understand what we're trying to do, get that message across, that's more important. But as a department, we're trying to stay ahead. We have kind of revamped our athletic department. It's more of an external facing athletic department than the old traditional way. I know others have started their own ventures and LLCs and 401c3s and this and that, different ways of structuring their athletic department. We have looked and we are actively approaching something that will revamp our department. But more importantly than anything else, it's looking at everything from an external face, from a marketing, fundraising, partnerships, helping put our student athletes in a position that they can be successful. Those are the kind of areas that to me are more important now than ever.
Not to hit you with another loaded question, but this is one that we're all navigating. How are you approaching the balance between competing at the highest level while also maintaining some sense of long-term financial sustainability?
Yeah, that's a hard one. That truly is. It's a good loaded question, but it's a hard one because what you're seeing now more and more. And look, again, one of the things I think people have learned from me is I'm very straightforward. I'm transparent in everything I do. I have no reason to sugarcoat it. We do have a lot of subsidies when it comes to support from the university. When I arrived here, we were, I think, one of the largest subsidizing athletic departments. And what we have focused on is building that in other areas so that we are not dependent on the campus. At the same time, my directive, I guess you would say, from the president is try to grow as much revenue so that they don't have to do as much as they've done. So we've been able to continue to grow that in the right ways over the last year and a half. This year, we will continue to grow all our licensing. Everything else has gotten to a point where we can do it. But the finances right now to be able to compete in the world of basketball and football and all sports, but really let's take those two because we just finished basketball here recently and the whole portal and everything changed the whole spectrum of what is NIL and rev share and everything else. The reality is if we want to compete, we want to sustain success, we have to at least be competitive. And you can compete versus your conference, versus the top tier, however you want to look at it. we know that our basketball program and our football program have to be successful for us to be able to continue to build this department financially. All our coaches, everyone from, again, the golf, the tennis, is whatever, we sit down and they understand the importance of those two sports having success really rises up, all ships in this department. And so that is critical. We have to continue to put an emphasis where we can to help raise those up. I said it earlier, consistency is key for us. If I can have consistency when it comes to coaching staffs, when I have consistency of a coach that can build a department the right way, all that can transcend and actually give us a chance to be able to start having better balance. Is it going to be perfect one day? I don't know. All I can tell you is we're going to do whatever we can with ticket sales, with fundraising, with partnerships, with multimedia rights, with sponsors, everything. What can we do to grow it to the most, more than it's ever been done here before? And so I'm excited. I know we can do it. I know it's been done, but it is a balancing act. And I'll say this, you better be aligned with your president and your board, because that's the most critical. I am fortunate to have an unbelievable president and board that see the bigger picture and how the university can help elevate the campus as well. So that actually allows us to work side by side with each other.
Let's zoom out just a little bit and talk about the Big 12. Houston, of course, one of the newer members of the Big 12. What excites you the most about where the Big 12 is headed, and what role can Houston play in helping shape that future?
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot that's, of course, transpiring, and I think the Big 12 is on the forefront of a lot of it. And our members, in the conversations that I've had with my peers, as well as the presidents in our league, we all have the same vision of where we see this athletic department, with our own athletic departments, but as our conference. We have a chance to make a difference with not just the Power Four, but across the industry of college athletics. We are doing things. Our commissioner and our conference are pushing the needle when it comes to certain aspects of sponsorships or different things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But for the most part, we have to think differently. And I think that's one of the things the Big 12 has done, is say, we are not just going to be a part of this new era. We want to find ways to be creative and take advantage and actually be on the forefront in a lot of ways. So where I see Houston is, again, we're in one of the largest cities in the United States. We've got more Fortune 500 companies, more companies. We are the energy epicenter of the world here. When you think about every energy company you could imagine, oil, gas, it is here in Houston. They're headquartered. With that power, that influence, how do we take advantage of that? Because we're the University of Houston, we're the University for Houston. How do we work together to help elevate our community, our city, and put it on the backs of the Big 12? Because I think that is what we bring to the table. That's one of the reasons the Big 12 brought the University of Houston in, because they saw a major city, major impact, and the success we've had in athletics. Now it's taken and elevated even more.
You've mentioned the term consistency several times in our conversation. And when I think about sustaining excellence, Houston basketball certainly fits that bill. And what Coach Kelvin Sampson has done to grow that into one of the most respected programs in the country. What have you learned from watching and working alongside Coach Sampson that can be applied in building and sustaining that same level of success and culture throughout your athletic department?
Yeah, you talk about one of the great leaders across any industry. What he's been able to do, like anyone else, success everywhere he's gone. He's built programs. He's grown programs. He has helped reshape, a community. And when I look at the University of Houston and what he did and where he's taken it, it is culture. It is a culture. And that's a family ingrained culture. The way he does things, he keeps close. But his expectations of his program aren't, let's just be okay. I mean, they strive for greatness every day. They bring it, the way they work, the way they approach things, the accountability. And for me, it's also understanding that work ethic. We're understanding the expectations you want to set on your staff, and also understanding that the only thing that's holding us back is ourselves. We can achieve anything we can if we strive to do it and we work hard enough, and we surround ourselves with the right components to be able to be great. Having someone like Kelvin Sampson, and I'll even throw in Willie Fritz, because both of them are, as people like to say sometimes, old school. These are two old school coaches, if you want to call them, but have learned to adapt to this environment, and that shows how great of coaches they are, but also great people, because they want to lift this athletic department up. So I'm fortunate to have two great coaches that see the big picture, see what's possible. And for me, taking what the knowledge that I get when I have those sit downs with coach weekly or bi-weekly, whenever we can, is understanding how important those little things are. How you come to work every day, trustworthy expectations, and then also at the end of the day, being humble, because these jobs are hard, and sometimes we tend to forget and have a little humbleness in what you do, and empathy in what you do.
Great insight. I want to dive a little bit deeper into the professional development realm before we wrap up our conversation. This is the Cows Report podcast, of course. I want to ask you, you've been involved with Cows for a really long time. How important are events like Cows that bring leaders in college athletics together to connect, share ideas, and learn from each other?
They are the most impactful learning tool that you can have. I remember as a very, very young administrator, I think I was a director of events, right about to become an assistant athletic director. So back in those times, that was a huge leap for me. And to be invited to at the time was a Division I institute, and with a lot of individuals that were way more advanced than I was in their careers. And sitting in that room thinking to myself, wow, I had a lot to learn, but I learned so much. Everything from how to communicate, how to address things. But I learned more than anything else were two things. First, networking. The ability to network, not just being there and thinking you're better, make an effort to get to know those around you, because they're going through the same challenges you are. Second was understanding how to watch others when they go through their evolution of their career. As individuals in that room stepped into the next phase, I got to be able to watch them press conferences and communications and dealing with issues. And I learned from, I put myself in that place. Fast forward to Cows, when Cows was brought to light, Will had that vision to really bring everybody together, keep that connectivity. For me, what's important than anything else is it's not just sitting with a search firm or this or that. Those individuals are wonderful, and that's a great piece of the puzzle. But what's more important is listening, learning, and being, whenever you walk out of Cows, is being able to come back to your department and find a way to utilize something that's going to help make a difference. And Cows did it. Honestly, I go back to what I mentioned earlier. It was more impactful to me to be able to teach that class or speak at that class about my first 90 days on the job, and watch everybody. Still today, there were individuals in that room that have told me that was instrumental in helping them see things differently, because people think that's, you're going to get a job and everything's great. Moving over from the deputy to the AD, have you heard this time and time again? It's a lot different. But when you are thrown into the mix, there's a reason sometimes these jobs are open, and they have a lot of challenges that you have to overcome. That was more instrumental to me, being able to sit up there and speak and talk about it, because I don't know if I had, to that point, been able to take a step back and realize how much I had gone through. Cows gave me that platform to allow that, but what it's also allowed me to do is build great networks. There's people that I've hired from Cows. There's people that I've brought into, that I've helped give guidance or mentorship, however you want to put it, that have gone through. There's people that have worked for me that are still attending Cows and being a part of it. And I think it's instrumental for anybody to take advantage of these resources, because, again, networking is important. But to me, if it's not just networking and knowing people, it's truly having a genuine relationship with people. That's what's going to differentiate you from the next person. And sometimes people go there and they just want to check a box and say, I'm here, I'm at Cal's, can I get a job? Maybe. That may happen that way. But the reality is, be patient, do your job, listen, and try to grow every day. And Cal's gives that platform. So, supportive of it.
That's great advice. And we, as always, really appreciate your time and willingness to invest in the next generation of leaders through Cal's and other programming. All right, I'm going to get you out of here on this. We know there's a lot of chaos, a lot of uncertainty in the times we're living in college athletics, but what gives you the most optimism about the future of college athletics and the opportunities for young people at the University of Houston?
First of all, in the world, in our industry, I'll say this. As long as I've been around or I've studied, even before where college athletics has come from, there's always been some discomfort. There's always been some changes. You go back to conference realignment, people look back at just the most recent one. Conference realignment's been happening for tens of years. You look back in the 50s, 60s, there was those changes already happening. People just didn't recognize them as conference realignment. You think about all the circumstances, going through COVID, that was a huge change for everybody. We had to pivot, understand things differently. What I take from all that is college athletics has still found a way to overcome this. I know we will overcome this. Will it be easy? No. Well, will we overcome this or navigate where we currently are? Yeah, we will. It's going to take help. We have to be willing to accept help. We have to be willing to pivot and change. COVID showed us we have to change. And this is the time now that we can do it. But when everybody is saying student athletes today, all they want is money or this and that, they're trying to find the next dollar. The reality is, look at the academics. We've set two GPA records in the last 2 years. Why? Because we still have an emphasis, and so do our student athletes. So when I look at our student athletes and what's possible here, again, academically, they're killing it. We've got great young men and young women that represent this university. I know they can achieve everything if it's getting some financial assistance, either through rev share, making it through NIL and selling and doing it the right way, but more importantly, they can do it and be huge ambassadors of the university while achieving success on the courts, on the fields, or on the track. So I know we'll overcome this. It too shall pass, as everyone likes to say. I believe in it. I think it, but we better be willing to embrace it and be willing to change.
I think that's a great spot to finish the conversation, or at least put a pin in it for today. Eddie, as always, really appreciate your time and your candor. Congratulations on all your success. And again, we're just really grateful for the investment you continue to make in Cal's and the Cal's community.
Ryan, I appreciate it. And tell Will when he gets a chance, he can always invite me back. I'll come back and be a part of it. But no, honestly, anytime. I'm just joking. Thank you for having me.
We'd love to have you anytime. Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks again to Eddie Nunez for joining us on the Cal's Report this month. We appreciate Eddie taking the time to share his story, his vision for Houston, and his perspective on the future of college athletics. And thanks to Ryan Bradley for leading another outstanding big interview. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, subscribe, and share the podcast with colleagues across the college athletics community. You can find the Cal's Report on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. To stay connected with Cal's between episodes, follow us on X at AD Symposium, follow the Cal's Report on Instagram at the Cal's Report, and connect with us on LinkedIn. For more information about Cal's and upcoming events, you can always check out adsymposium.us. Until next time, stay connected, stay encouraged, and keep leading the way in college athletics.